Oh, it's really bad in the South Asian community. The racism towards black people is unbelievable, how they're viewed, how they're treated. Even if you're a Muslim, by the way, like I've noticed a lot with South Asian Muslims, they even dislike black Muslims. It's disgusting, okay? And that's not a reflection of Islam, by the way. That's just a reflection of this community. The community that I'm from, so I can speak confidently on this. Yeah, the racism is disgusting. And this is something that a lot of people don't know. Mahatma Gandhi wasn't fighting for freedom for everyone. He was fighting so that brown people were treated better than black people, okay? Black people are seen as low in the South Asian community. Put it this way, the darker you are in the South Asian community, the uglier you are seen, which isn't true, obviously, but that's just the way it's seen.
India, with its rich history of diversity and unity, it is also a place where stereotypes and biases persist. Over the years, reports of racism towards black people, particularly African students, have surfaced, from verbal abuse and stereotyping to violent attacks. Watch and pay attention, and I will share my thought later.
Oh, it's really bad in the South Asian community. The racism towards black people is unbelievable, how they're viewed, how they're treated. Even if you're a Muslim, by the way, like I've noticed a lot with South Asian Muslims, they even dislike black Muslims. It's disgusting, okay? And that's not a reflection of Islam, by the way. That's just a reflection of this community. The community that I'm from, so I can speak confidently on this. Yeah, the racism is disgusting. And this is something that a lot of people don't know. Mahatma Gandhi wasn't fighting for freedom for everyone. He was fighting so that brown people were treated better than black people, okay? Black people are seen as low in the South Asian community. Put it this way, the darker you are in the South Asian community, the uglier you are seen, which isn't true, obviously, but that's just the way it's seen. So there's a lot of internal racism. Brown people love white people. I say they love white people. They hate black people, but they will kiss the white master, the one that literally put them through slavery and everything. It's a bit odd. And the people that have it the worst in the South Asian community, brown women. Brown women that are seeing people outside of their culture who are black. There have been so many cases here in the UK where young South Asian women have been killed because they were with a black person. Okay? So yeah, brown women have it so much worse when they're dating a black person. But yeah, there's so much racism. This guy's right. He has every right to be upset. I apologize. It's horrendous. And it's true. As much as we're all going to sit and be like, no, it's not true. It is.
One day when the country is no longer facing an economic crisis, or one day when the country is free of corruption, when we are ready to talk, when you are ready to sit down and talk about real-time issues that we are facing, we'll be able to sit down and talk about the amount of racism that most Indian people have towards black people. This might not be a popular opinion, but I know whoever's watching this video knows what I'm talking about. This thing has been going on for the longest time and people are not addressing it. Instead, we sweep it under the carpet. But it's been going on for the longest time. And I'm not talking about just the recent incidents that happened in Phoenix, the Phoenix massacre or anything. I'm talking about a lot of things. It's been happening for the longest time. How many times have you met one of your brother or sister or auntie or even your neighbor who works for Indians or who works in Makishini or my Indians? How many times have you heard them talk about how evil they are? How badly they treat black people? How much they see us as slaves or animals instead of human beings? This thing hasn't been addressed in South Africa for the longest time. People don't want to talk about it. I don't know, maybe it's because of the affiliation that the government has, or the former government, as they said, has with certain Indian businessmen and business people. Ask anybody who works for Indian people how much racist they are. One day we'll be able to sit down and discuss that issue, that dilemma. We'll be able to talk about the disease, the hatred that most Indian brothers and sisters have for fellow black people. Like, I really don't understand this. I don't know. History people will correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as history books are concerned, black people, Indian people, colored people, we were all the same in the eyes of the oppressor. Our former apartheid government. We were all the same.
I'm gonna keep it real with the black community. A lot of brown uncles don't like you.
I think by now we live in a world where black people know that anti-blackness exists in all cultures globally. And this is not revolutionary. I'm gonna talk about an instance. My half-brother got married with a Anglo-Indian. This story has relevance because I firsthand witnessed anti-blackness from the now ex-wife, shocker, they got divorced, family when we first met them. The first thing they said to us when we first found out that my half-brother was dating, their daughter, was usually, our daughter would never go for these type of people. So at first they were not accepting, which is pretty much what they said. And then they came around, they're like, I guess we can make it happen, because obviously they're Anglo-Indian. So culturally they still practice their culture, but they've adapted to the westernized way of thinking, of allowing other people from different cultures and ethnicities getting involved in their family. And obviously when I heard this, I was so confused, and I was quite shocked when I heard this come out of their mouths, because I'm like, why is there such a big disdain for people of African ancestry and anti-blackness of not wanting to date another person because they are black? I can understand culturally, but if you're just going to base it on their skin tone and race, that is just plain out racism. But hey, I think conversations like these are important, but never do I see a lot of people address anti-blackness, specifically from a lot of South Asian creators, which I would love to see. Maybe I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, but then again, it's nothing shocking. It's something that a lot of us people know.
Sit down and talk about the amount of racism that most Indian people have towards black people.
I wasn't going to stitch this video because I've made many videos talking about racism in our community, but I've seen a lot of stitches on this video and Indian people saying, well, it's not all Indian people. Yeah, we know that, black people know that, but it's a lot of us. So they are valid to say Indian people are racist. And can you honestly tell me, how would your family react if they know you're dating a black person? I also saw someone say, well, black people are racist to us too. Two wrongs don't make a right, but I'm also having a hard time believing that you know that many black people. And you're probably just making this assumption from like two black people that weren't nice to you. So like, well, they're racist to us too. We as Indian people need to acknowledge how we are wrong and apologize and change.
India, with its rich history of diversity and unity, is also a place where stereotypes and biases persist. Over the years, reports of racism towards black people, particularly African students, have surfaced, from verbal abuse and stereotyping to violent attacks. This is not just about isolated incidents. It reflects deeper societal attitude rooted in history, culture, and media portrayal. Let's unpack this further. Colonialism left a legacy of colorism in India. The British reinforced the idea that lighter skin was superior, a mindset that persists in the form of fairness cream and matrimonial ads seeking fair brides. Bollywood, India's powerful film industry, has often portrayed dark-skinned characters negatively, reinforcing stereotypes. When you combine this internalized bias with ignorance about African cultures and people, it creates fertile ground for racism. But there is more to the story. Many African students in India have shared experiences of being labeled as drug dealers or criminals. These stereotypes often stem from lack of education and exposure to African cultures. Stereotypes are amplified by media portrayals and the lack of intercultural dialogue. Most Indians know very little about Africa beyond what is shown in the news or movies. The consequences are profound: physical harm, emotional trauma, and strained international relations. India is home to thousands of African students and workers. How does this impact their experience and the perception of India abroad? But it is not all grim. Many organizations and individuals are working tirelessly to bridge this gap through education and cultural exchange and campaigns promoting unity. The solution starts with acknowledgement. Racism is not an Indian problem, it is a global issue. But every step toward understanding and empathy makes a difference. India and Africa shared centuries of trade, cultural exchange, and a shared fight against colonialism. Recognizing and addressing racism is not just about justice, it is about honoring that shared history. Thank you for watching, guys. Do not forget to like and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.